set all our spirits free. So I wanna do right all of my life.
Let me start by saying happy 4th of July, everyone. Let's define Independence Day based on a web search. It is also known as the 4th of July, federal holiday. Federal, by the way. What is federal? Kind of like the Federal Reserve. In the United States, it's the adoption of the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776, declaring independence from the Kingdom of Great Britain, now officially known as the United Kingdom. Why do you think they call it the United Kingdom now? Because in the history books of our children, it will be the place that created the New World Order. How are we independent from the United Kingdom when we have a president that is doing nothing but the New World Order? All the way from JFK, every president has been nothing but a New World Order president. The one that we have now is the most tyrannical one that's ever existed in mankind, and the one before him, Bush, was just as tyrannical. So we're seeing our presidents getting more and more abusive to our freedom, our independence. Executive order, Patriot Act, executive order, surveillance. How is this independence? Like right now, I'm talking on a computer and it's being monitored by our government, which is now controlled by Great Britain or the United Kingdom or the New World Order. It has nothing to do. Our police are controlled by the New World Order. All banks, the United Kingdom banks, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, United Kingdom, the kingdom that unites the world. And what do you do on the 4th of July? You explode bombs. You pollute your planet with bombs. I don't get into it because I don't like polluting the planet more than what it is. And I watch people, they'll pop firecrackers and what I call just miniature bombs in the symbol of the United Kingdom, how they have weapons, how they're going to unite the kingdoms. And why would they change their name? It's kind of like global warming changed their name to climate change, because it's a fraud. The United Kingdom is nothing but a fraud. Independence Day is nothing but fraud. And it's sad for me to say these things, but it's the truth. We do not, in our court systems today, follow the Constitution of America. You mention the Constitution and these judges come unglued because they are dictated by the United Kingdom. When you go to court, you board the ship of the United Kingdom. You know that gate that the attorney can cross? That's the ship. That's the maritime law ship. Then you pass through the gate as you give up your official rights, because the United Kingdom has deemed you a slave. They've capitalized your name, gave you a social security number, and they turned you into a corporation. Birth certificate is capitalized. Driver's license is capitalized. And when you go to court and you say, here, when they call your name, you're giving up your living rights as a human being and a constitutional, God-like being. You are now a corporation. You gave up your rights, but they don't want you to know that. And the whole thing is Satanism. The whole court system. There's a judge, 3 steps to get to his throne. He sits on a throne. He wears a black robe. He has a hammer of Osiris and Thor. It's mythological gods, people. United Kingdom. People who believe that they're gods and they're going to unite the world into slavery, not freedom, slavery. God wants to unite the world as oneness, freedom. The United Kingdom wants to unite the world as oneness, slavery. What do you do in a courtroom? Well, the judge throws stones when Jesus says, do not throw stones. They create their own laws against God's laws. They judge mankind when God says, do not judge, period. We can't even judge people. You see, the right and wrong is written in your mind by God. However, when you're born, you were committed fraud. I didn't know I was a corporation when I was born. And by the way, the shots that they gave me were not immune shots. They were poisons to separate my DNA, to separate me from God at birth. My whole life is a fraud. Your whole life is a fraud. It's kind of like Christmas has turned into Black Friday. Your kids are like, what have you done for me lately? instead of the birth of Christ. And I believe it's in the wrong month, because the Virgin Mary, Virgo, was in Virgo. The Mayan and the Chinese and the astrological calendars are real, people. There's no Satanism in this. Our sun revolves around a black hole in the center of the Milky Way galaxy. You cannot deny this. The calendar is a miniature Milky Way galaxy as we pass through constellations. And stars are pure energy. The energy reflects who you are. It actually reflects our living planet and what our planet is going through. So when you're born in a certain month, you can read your zoological or your Mayan or your Japanese or Chinese calendar, and literally you know who you are. And by the way, you know, all this match and meeting mates and stuff like that. Well, if you go by the zoological calendar, the real one, I'm not talking this daily horoscope, I'm talking about reality, and you choose the opposite sign of your sign, that is your true match. Because opposites not only attract, but they build oneness. This is our life journey. We're supposed to learn good and evil. And I'm not saying one sign is good and evil, but what I'm trying to tell you is one of your opposite signs has the opposite reflection of the stars pulling on its mind. You have the opposite, and when you come together as one, then what you're saying is good and evil, or yin and yang, or war and peace comes as one. So when you're searching for a mate, your mate should only be the opposite of your sign. If you're on the cusp, you're very powerful. I'm on the cusp. I'm on the cusp of the constellation that we're actually in currently, which is the movement of Pisces to Aquarius. And we're going to be there for about 2,150 years. And we just moved into Aquarius. What does society have you taught? Religion? Have you automatically taught to, when people speak truth, you're automatically or designed by the television, mentally altered to see truth as fear. And when I talk about the calendar and the opposite of the signs, you're automatically programmed, if you're a weak-minded individual, to say, wait a minute, my religion says that I shouldn't believe in the zodiac calendar. How could you not believe in the sun and the Milky Way galaxy? How could you not believe in the planet system that you exist in? That's like living in fear. That's like living in jealousy. That's like living in hate. It's like you hate your own galaxy. How could you hate your own galaxy? What is it? We have these television programs, rock and roll bands, and we're celebrating our independence. Guys, how are you independent? The United Kingdom owns your house. The United Kingdom owns your car if you have a loan. And if you don't have a loan and you have it paid off, then they own it through the states, because the states are in debt to the banks. They control the weather modification, chemtrails, geoengineering. All the nations right now are fighting to get control of the weather by 2025. And the nation who rises to control the weather is the nation who rules the world. And who is spraying the chemtrails? The British bankers. Oh, sorry, we don't want to call them British. The United Kingdom, the kingdom that unites the New World Order, the people into slavery. $8.7 trillion was their budget. Oh, what are you saying? Chemtrails aren't real? Okay, planes flying trails and leaving trails in the sky until they turn into clouds. Not even clouds. You can't even see the definition of a cloud. We've got cirrus, we've got stratus. We've got, what happened to the puffy clouds, man? Where are the clouds? All we have is a hazy layer that blocks out the sun, and you can't even see the stars at night. Your moon has a ring around it. The sun has different colors when you look at it. You can actually look at the sun now. That's how much metal they've sprayed in the air, because they want to create a separate magnetosphere so that they can engineer mind control, number one, which is through your smart meters, matching your house by the patent office of the British government. Your house acts is like a radiation emitter that puts your house into a certain hertz and frequency. The wires. That's why you have a ground and a common, and you have a negative wire. They're taking these extra wires that you don't really need, like the negative wire, and they're turning your house into a resonating energy that matches the Schumann resonance of the earth, matches your brain resonance. I've done my research, real research. I didn't go to the school of Rockefeller. I didn't go to a school that was in debt to learn what I learned. I went to the school of God. That is the wireless internet, the resonating frequency of the heart and the mind. There's nothing wiser than that. Newton about it. Ask Einstein. Tesla, the greatest genius that's lived in our closest time. Ask Jesus about it. Moses, Noah. Ask them about the wisdom that lies in the mountains. The wisdom that lies in the connection to God. The power of God is unbelievable. Our one creator God. The God that wants us to come together as one in love. Not in hate and fear and separation. And if you want to see the hate and the fear and the separation, just watch TV. And if you want to see that you're living in a fictional, illusional world, a delusional world, evil matrix of a fictional reality, watch the television on Independence Day. They're celebrating our Constitution while your president is doing the opposite of the Constitution. Name one thing that he's done that's followed the Constitution. Oh, he brought immigration. No, he didn't. He united Canada and Mexico with the United States and the North American Union. And now China is merging, Russia's merging, the United Kingdom's merging, Europe's merging. So they're going to merge into a one world government. But they're going to create a giant event in order to make this happen. A nuclear bomb, a Holocaust, a tidal wave that hits the United States. Something is going to unite the nations and give them an excuse, kind of like 9/11, kind of like O.J. Simpson. Some false flag event, kind of like Vietnam. I'm watching a TV about when they captured all the Japanese in America and made them swear allegiance to the United States. How do you capture a man? What created the war? Why did Japan bomb Pearl Harbor? I'll tell you why, because the banks influenced them to do it. The bankers, yesterday's evil kings, the high priests that killed Jesus Christ are the bankers. They're the same secret society that Jesus faced. There's no difference. Same laws, same slavery, same hidden wisdom, same allegiance to the kings. Exact same philosophy. The people who killed Jesus Christ are the people in the United Kingdom, the bankers of today. The ones who print the money. You know when you fold the $20 bill in half and you see the burning twin towers of 9/11? A $10 bill, a $5 bill. Oh, what a coincidence. That's just a coincidence. And you still don't see? I mean, the building 7 turned into powder. Nothing even hit it. Somebody commanded it to blow up. Anybody that watches that knows that an airplane, I've stood at the base of these buildings. I've been there. I know that plane could not explode and turn cement into powder while it leaves paper floating and steel melting. I know what does that. Microwave, infrasonic, and ultrasonic weaponry, laser weaponry. It's all the same thing, just different frequencies. And if you paint the steel beams with TNT, that gets hot enough. Airplane fuel never burns hot enough to melt steel. You can put a steel beam in some airplane fuel and burn it for 20 years and it never melts the steel. It doesn't get hot enough. The steel might turn black, but it never melts it. You know, I've got the dumbest brother-in-laws that ever existed in the history of mankind. Well, man, when the airplane fuel mixes with the insulation and all the chemicals in the place, then it gets hotter. Oh, really? That's a theory I'd like to let's say. Okay, so paint mixes with airplane fuel. So paint burns cooler than airplane fuel, but you're going to mix airplane fuel with paint and you think it gets hotter? Are you kidding me? I mean, how dumb can you be? I know things have chemical reactions, but not this. Unless the paint had some TNT in it, then it would get hot, but you have to have a substance within the paint that was deliberately put there that's not supposed to be in the paint in order to create a heat that melts steel. Now we're back to that it was done deliberately. Okay, and you can look at a bill. Okay, they got the symbol of the owl, they got the pyramid, the eye over the pyramid, and now they got the burning twin towers. People, what else evidence do you not want to know that we live in a demonic society? I mean, come on, watch television, every channel, separation from God, hate and fear and revenge. Separate every channel from a court case. You are guilty. And you go to the next channel, Jerry Springer going, I wouldn't stay with him. I would break up with him, splitting up the families. Then you go to the next channel, and they got divorce court, and they're splitting up the families. And they're all trying to turn people against people. So why did the Japanese come and bomb us? Because the banks influenced them that we were bad. That's what the same thing's going to happen in World War III. The banks are going to influence a nation. And you can see Obama doing this right now. He's trying to get a war. Because, see, war hides people like me. They can just deem me a Patriot Act and throw me in prison because they can deem that I'm anti-American. I'm not anti-American at all. I want God in America. I love America. But I don't want Satan in America. I want Satan off my television. Look at our movies. Tom Cruise. I'm a robot. Trying to conform our children's minds. How do you let your kids watch that stuff? You got video games. Pow, 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 shooting people. They want to conform your kid's mind that killing is okay. You have them in military training as a child. And like Pink Floyd says, the mother and the fathers are helping them build a wall. The fathers are sitting here saying, I don't want my son to have that shit. And the mothers are saying, oh, little Johnny, it's okay. When the father says, I don't want that shit in the house, well, then he's violent. Then he needs a protection order. And next thing you know, the father's out of the house. These are the United Kingdom laws. They're not. United Kingdom hasn't left our United States. Their influx into the United States is greater than ever. Their uniting the nations into slavery is greater than ever. And if you don't believe it, look up and see chemtrails. What do you think your children's being avoided? Nanoparticulates floating in the air, getting into your lungs. You're breathing it every day. Your immune system is collapsing on a daily basis. I don't know how long, might be 10 years, but it's going to collapse. The elderly are dying first because their immune system is the closest to being collapsed. When you see a little old lady or a little old man trapped in a wheelchair, well, they don't have much life expectancy, because if they can't walk and get around and they're watching TV all day, you better believe that they'll be dead soon, because they cannot fight off these immune-killing aluminum. Same thing they put in your fluoride toothpaste. Same thing they put in your cereals and your baby food. They put fluoride in baby foods, aluminum waste, sodium fluoride, rat poison. The United Kingdom bankers have been doing this to us for years. And if you don't believe it, that it's associated with the high priest, go ahead and watch the 1945 Caesar Cleopatra movie. It's on Netflix. I love Netflix until they were sold out. But now it's nothing but demon movies. You can't see, there's no more, the Christian and religion movies are just every day being eaten away, and people don't even recognize it because they don't watch it. They want to watch what's popular. They don't want to watch what's pure and clean and godlike. Pearl Harbor, why was it bombed? Because every war that you've ever known, that you could ever read about, was financed, both sides, by a guy named Rothschild, the guy who controls the Federal Reserve. Why is it called federal? Because it's a fictional reality. They want you to think that it's United States, but it's not. The United States gets like 1%, if not even that, 0.5% or 0.25% of your loans. They're a corporation of the Federal Reserve. They get a cut like a bank. So they've turned the United States into a bank, but they get the rest. So they get all this money to build military, weapons, underground facilities, so that when they decide to do the New World Order, that they will have multiple places to go, underground trains, underground facilities that they can hide if the people figure out the truth. And all I'm trying to do is tell you the truth. The next war will not be, again, the war against whites and blacks, fictional reality, television promotion. While the president's sitting there going, we shouldn't be prejudiced, he is prejudiced. And the people that he works for, the banks, are extremely prejudiced, and they've killed race against race, religion against religion for hundreds and thousands of years, people. They killed Jesus Christ. The same people who put him in office killed Jesus Christ. If you don't believe me, do your research about Constantine. Research it. Secret societies, Freemasons, Illuminati, Bilderbergs, all the way up to the Rothschilds. All they are is a pyramid of levels that you do the works for the British or the United Kingdom, which is a kingdom. They want to unite you into slavery. Not into freedom, not God's United Kingdom or God's oneness. What is water? I've said this in many of my videos. Two molecules that the eyes can't see coming together as one. What does it create? It creates life. When you go to solar systems, planet systems, you look for water. What is water? It's oneness. What is oneness? Life. But we don't come together in oneness into slavery. We come together in oneness into freedom. So we have to do the opposite of what the television tells us, the opposite of what government tells us, the opposite of what the United Kingdom bankers tell us. Everything that you're hearing in the popular world today, if you believe the opposite objectively, you have to read everything on television objectively. Then you're living in the evil matrix. So, guys, why would we celebrate independence when we're not independent at all? Our Constitution is being stripped away from us. I am sad that this place that I live in, that I grew up in as a child, has been carried and separated from truth for so long. And now we have our younger generation coming up. When we mention truth to them, they instantly feel fear. I have two daughters. If I mention truth to them, they instantly feel fear because of a mind-altered fictional reality, because of their religion. Guys, what is religion? What is wealthy religion? It's a place where you go to where they alter your mind. If your religion is your deity, then how can God be your deity? Because religion stands for the opposite of what God stood. Even though they've transformed your mind into worshiping a cross with a naked man hanging on. It is a naked man on a cross, crucified by the high priest. And you're worshiping it. You're worshiping their symbol. If I conquered a king, let's say if I was a psychopath and I conquered a king, then I would put that king on the cross, naked, embarrassing, and I would get all my people to worship that conquered king, that godlike king. What is it? What are you worshiping? You're worshiping their victory. That is a symbol of their victory. Just like I told you, the opposite. Oh, no. That's a symbol of the Christianity and the dying for our freedom. He died, but we're not free. We've just been transformed. Let's take a look at the blacks. I love black people. I love all people. But the blacks were stolen from their country by what? The United Kingdom. Why are the blacks angry at the whites? The whites didn't take them from there. The United Kingdom did. Europe. The bankers. That's who stole them from their country. So they stole them from their country. And who does Oprah work for? She works for the banks. Who does Beyonce work for? She works for the Illuminati, which is associated with the bank. Who did Malcolm X fight against? He fought against the banks. Who did Martin Luther King fight against? And JFK? They fought against the banks. But who is Denzel Washington? He works and gets a paycheck from the banks. How do you associate Martin Luther King with Denzel Washington or Oprah? How is there an association? Two black people who have sold their soul to money, European money. Why are you worshiping them? They betrayed your race. They betrayed Martin Luther King. Oh, and Oprah will sit there and go, oh, I loved Martin Luther King. Really? Why did you sell him out? Because Martin Luther King is spitting on you right now. He is disgusted with that everything that he fought against, you have fell victim to. And now you're transforming a society to eat, sleep, walk, talk, drink, shoot, shit, exactly like the European government. The kingdom of uniting slavery. We moved to independence. Now we're going back into slavery because of people like Denzel Washington, Tom Cruise, Oprah Winfrey. These people have betrayed your race. They are the bankers. It has nothing to do with white or black. It's all a fictional, media-driven war, just like Hitler. Everything Hitler did was legal to his own people. What was Hitler? Rich Jews fighting against poor Jews. That's all it was. What were the Romans? Rich Romans fighting against the poor Romans. That's all it was. One religion fighting against another religion. It's always the rich against the poor, the most powerful religion against the weakest religion. It's financial. Since we have more money and more power and more weapons, we're going to kill them. basically the philosophy. Look at the American Indians. What happened to the American Indians? The United Kingdom, the Great Britain, Columbus came over and murdered them all. Now we worship Columbus like a god. Oh, he discovered America. A fictional reality. How did he discover America? It was already discovered. Who were the American Indians? They were people that came from China and lived in America. Alaska was connected. Something separated that ocean. Something. Don't know what it was, but something did it. Maybe a great flood. I don't know. But they came over and they were in a different environment, probably a hotter environment, and they were used to the cold. I don't know, but they were simply called the Red Man. What pill did the Matrix take? He took a red pill. So, who were the shaman? The shaman were the American Indians, Peru, Mayans. We lived in a complete nation of shaman. What were shaman? Shaman were men who understood the calendar of the Milky Way. They understood that everything was alive and one. The spirit of the eagle, the spirit of the buffalo, everything was alive. Everything was one. And that everything was free. And that evolution was not millions of years ago. Evolution was passing through the eye of God and coming back. If you look at a mother inside, a baby inside of a mother's womb, that baby looks like a fish. You cannot deny this in the first week. You cannot deny that all of a sudden it evolves into a reptile. It even has a tail. Reach around to the back of your butt. I asked my teacher about the tail, and he didn't want to tell me. Why can't you tell me why I have a post-anal tail? It's not that I come from a monkey. It's because that I evolved from a fish to a reptile. This is the life cycles that we had on this planet. And then we evolved into a mammal. The mammals dominated on this planet. We even have hair. I think it's called laguna. We digest the tail. We digest the hair. I think around 8 weeks, we look like a little child, a human child. Tiny human with fingers. We evolved inside the mother earth, the womb. And that proves that God is within. He is the atom. Adam and Eve. A-T-O-M. Atom. Pure energy. It's hard for you to understand, but when the sun set, the glitter of the sun was Jesus walking on the water. Do I believe Jesus was a man that lived? Absolutely. I don't believe everything the Bible says. I talk to God, I read the Bible, and I encode it based on my communication with God, because I know that many of the words have been rewritten, and they're constantly rewriting. How many versions of the Bible? How can you deny that the Bible has been written? It was translated from Latin. What does the word apple in Latin mean? It means evil serpent. Why is the apple on our computers? And the apple and the bite out of the apple is on our computers, which is a complete insult to God. Basically saying, hey, they've already bitten the apple. Now it's time to destroy them. And what is the apple doing in our school system? Why is a serpent in our school systems? Oh, and of course, our education system sucks. I used to train people out of college that had multiple degrees, masters, summa cum laude, all this stuff. I trained them, and they knew nothing about the corporate world. Nothing. Zero. I would rather train somebody out of high school than train somebody that has a master's degree, and they're in debt. Their minds have been transformed. They don't even believe in God anymore by the time they get the master's degree. I know. I have a daughter like that. She doesn't even believe in God anymore. Well, Daddy, I'm more spiritual. Okay, well, that's fine. You're spiritual. That's great. Spiritual is God. That's great. Oh, no. It's not the same. Oh, really? Oh, Dad, I don't want to talk about it. Well, you don't want to talk about it because your mind has been altered in a college. And now you're in debt to the banks, and they got you by the balls. That's what they want to do. They place the states in debt. They place counties in debt. That's what controlling the weather is all about, so they can put every country in debt. Look at Katrina. I was living in Katrina. It came through. The parishes were all placed in debt. They all bought new courthouses, new highways, new streets with all that money. Now the police are not as good as they used to be. They're enforcing laws for Walmart and corporations. And if it comes to anything that has anything to do with the small businessmen, oh, that's civil. You take it to court. Well, time I take and spend $5,000 on something that you refuse to police. I mean, what are you there for? Time I spend $5,000, getting, with a possibility of getting honesty put back on this planet, put back into my life, then what am I going to get? 3,000 for my 5? It doesn't even make sense. So people don't even take people to court anymore. Civil court's very corrupt. If it takes more money to take somebody to court, then why do you do it? Well, they just stole $5,000 from you. Well, it's going to take $5,000 to even take them to court. So they basically just say, just let the criminals, the real thieves, be thieves. As long as they're destroying American business, it's okay. Because that's the same goal as the United Kingdom, the banks of London, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, destroy American business. Now, if you rent an apartment and somebody rips you off, destroys your place, they have $3,000 to $5,000 in damage, well, they get away scot-free because it's okay. That's what the British government want. They want destruction of the small businessman. Look at Walmart. Comes into your town. It's like a giant virus. Takes over. Then they put another one. They got a market Walmart. They got the Walmart. Next thing you know, the virus has just eaten away all the small business people. And now you have a deity, a food controller, a water controller. Walmart, God. I am a computer drone. I am going to Walmart like a computer and like the television tells me the United Kingdom government. I am a New World Order sheeple. Bah! I will follow the laws of man. Bah! Forget about the laws of God. Bah! I mean, I'm not trying to demonize you. I'm not trying to hate you. It's love, people. I'm giving you love. I'm telling you the truth about who you are and what you're doing. Why do you want to be a sheeple for the United Kingdom that wants to unite a nation into slavery? Why would you want to celebrate the 4th of July, Independence Day, when we're not independent? And then they love posting that TV, put it all over TV, propaganda. Because if you're celebrating a holiday that doesn't exist, it's called propaganda. If you're taking Christmas, the birth of Christ, and you're turning it into Black Friday, it's called propaganda Christmas. Easter, the same thing. Halloween, how demonic can you get? Let's dress up like demons and make it really cool. And let's eat some poison candy. Where's the poison? It's in the candy. Let's have the kids consume poison and become demons. Yeah, that's a great celebration for me. Guys, I don't celebrate Easter. I'm sorry. Because they have demons. I celebrate it and I get on my knees and I talk to God. The resurrection. I don't celebrate Christmas anymore because it's turned into a madhouse. Families don't unite anymore. They're separate. They're so divided and separated by the television and those cell phones that they don't even forgive each other on Christmas. There's no forgiveness. It's all, oh, well, I hate him and he hates me. And I hear this all over the place. Families, they can't even get together. We can't even forgive each other the birth of Christ on one day. That's how much hate is in this world. The bite out of the apple, the symbol. They got you in a world of hate and fear. They got you. They've converted the birth of Christ to a satanic ritual of hate and fear. Do I love the Constitution? It's the closest thing. Yes. It's the closest thing to God that we have in this country. We have to stand for it. Do I want the nations to unite? Absolutely. But not under the rule of the United Kingdom or the rule of our own American government, because they've sold themselves out to money. Where's the money? The Federal Reserve. Who owns the Federal Reserve? Who has all the gold and who has all the money? Well, the Rothschilds do. Who are they? They're European Nazis. What is a Nazi? Well, the Nazi is just a people who believe in world domination, an Aryan race, a certain bloodline. Whose bloodline is going to reign? It's not yours. Your cells have been tainted with nanoparticulates. Jesse Ventura gets on TV the other day, and I just wanted to spit in his face. Well, I can't believe that a nation's going to spray chemtrails on its own nation. Why would they do that to themselves? Let me tell you why they do it to themselves. Because their technology is so far beyond your imagination that you can't comprehend it. And I think, Jesse, you know about their technology. But I think that you're a sellout. You pretended to be on the side of America and freedom, and all of a sudden you transformed back to the bank, the popular world, the money place. You, Jesse, live in fear. And everyone like Oprah, Tom Cruise, Denzel Washington, that lives in fear of a bank, of Satanism. Why would someone want to unite a world into slavery? Satanism. What other word do you want to call it? It's nothing but evil Satanism. It's darkness. Why would they want to spray chemtrails and block out the sun? Well, they're dark. They're satanic, so they want a dark world. What were the Dark Ages? Well, let me just tell you, it's man ruling over man. What was the mythological gods? It was gods that were men that treated the slaves like slaves. And they had all the powers of the animals of evolution. They had the pure genes, and you had tainted, ruined genes. What did God do? Well, he wiped out the planet, and he got one bloodline, Noah, the one pure man. Well, what happened? Somebody jumped on his boat. Satan lived. Darkness always, where there's light, there's darkness on this planet for some reason. I don't know why. But we go through periods and cycles. Darkness, and then we go back to love. And then we go back through darkness, and we go back through love. This is the cycle of our life. Somehow. Even our sun travels through what they call the equatorial plane. It goes it goes even with the Milky Way galaxy. It goes back up, back into the darkness, and it goes even with the Milky Way galaxy, back into the light, and it goes back down to the darkness. It's called the equatorial plane. Our planet follows the sun as it travels through this plane. I don't have all the answers. All I can do is just trust in the Lord and have a relationship with God. I don't need four walls to have a relationship with God. I don't need a wealthy religion that sits on the throne while poor people are starving to death and being murdered, and they have no food and they have no water. When I hear stories about Japanese Americans being enslaved in America and forced to swear allegiance to the United States, people, I don't see anything about the Constitution about that. Why did we prison camp Japanese people when the banks are the ones that imprisoned the Japanese? The banks are the one that got the Japanese to bomb us so that they can create a media event so that we can live in the hate and fear world. And once we live in the hate and fear world, then we can just go send our children off to kill. This is what the television does. It transforms your child's mind. This is what video games do. Transforms your child's mind to living in the world, the lower chakra, the hate and the fear, separating them from the heart and the mind. That's what the flu shots do. That's what the immune shots do. It kills the DNA, your natural DNA, the ability for the teeth to grow back, the ability to grow back. You have no idea who you are as a human being. You have no idea. You have the capabilities of amazing, but I know one thing your teeth do. The whole dental industry was created by I.G. Farben, which is Hitlerism, and now Rockefeller controls the medical industry because he places the colleges in debt. The colleges are in debt to Rockefeller, so they do what Rockefeller tells them to do. And now our doctors go to the school of Rockefeller, and they're drug-dealing pill pushers. They mask the illnesses. They heal no one. Sure, if you got a car crash, they mend you and they put some Band-Aids on you and they stitch you up. Because they have to. They can't hide that. But they can hide cancer. They can hide AIDS. They create AIDS, and then they create a mask of illnesses. If you get AIDS or if you get cancer, they determine how rich you are in their hospitals by doing your credit report. Once they determine that you're rich, it determines how long you stay in the hospital. If you're rich, you stay in there for quite a long time, or you're kept alive until all of your money is completely stolen away. You know, I used to do bank loans in the car business, and it works the same way. It's the same. Who owns the car dealers? Is it the names man on the building? Absolutely not. I've been in the media side of the car business. I was in the banking side of the car business. I was in the management side of the car business. None of the names on the building are the owners. That is a fictional reality. They do not own it. Their whole world and their whole life is controlled by the franchises. The franchises are the banks, and the flooring are the banks. They don't own not even the building. They don't own the building. They don't own the cars. They might own the used car inventory. That's about it. Their whole asset is only their used car, period. And when it comes to decisions in that business, they have to consult always with the master, the hidden, typically a judge or somebody who is controlling this car dealership secretly. And then they're linked to the Freemasons, and they're linked to the Bilderbergs and the Illuminati, and on up all the way to the Federal Reserve, all the way up to the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. It's just a pyramid of climbing up to the peak of the eye. That's who Walmart is. That's who everything in your life has become. This is the transformation to a united kingdom. That's why they moved from Great Britain to the United Kingdom. Now, who killed the Mayans? The Great Britons did. The kings and the queens sent the Italians over, and they killed the Mayans. Who killed the American Indians? The king and the queen of Great Britain, now called the United Kingdom. They sent them over and killed all the American Indians. They got rid of the natural healers and the real shaman, the ones who knew about the stars and the zodiacs, and they killed them all. What happened to Peru? Killed them all. Now, who comes in? The Roman Catholic Church is in Peru. The Roman Catholic Church is in the Mayans. The Roman Catholic Church is in America. And I can keep going on. The Roman Catholic Church is even in China. It's in freaking Vietnam. Those ancient shaman civilization of farmers. They were farmers, people. And now they paint a picture, oh no, they were savages. They were not, oh, they killed people, they sacrificed. Yeah, they killed you because you were trying to kill them. Liars. Who controls your modern day media? Great Britain, now called the United Kingdom. Where do they lead? Well, the United Kingdom travels from the king and the queen and all on up to the Bilderbergs, the Freemasons, the Illuminati, all the way up to the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, the money printers of the world, the dictators of the world. Now we even have something called, what is that? The Union of Nations. Now they got a different name for it. I can't think of it right now. But now we have that. But what is that? Well, that's just them trying to create a new world order, a group of people, satanic psychopaths, who want to create a world of slavery, not a world of freedom. The only thing that's going to save us is for us to have enough wisdom to know who the enemy is and who they are. Stop fighting white against black. That is an ignorant war. Stop fighting brown people against white people. That is an ignorant war. What we have to do is fight the extremely wealthy against the meek. Who is the meek? Oprah Winfrey is even the meek. She's not extremely wealthy. I'm talking about wealth way beyond her. If they had Oprah's money, they'd jump out of a freaking building. I'm talking about the people who write her check. The media corporations, the pharma corporations. On all the way up. When a pharma corporation has a name on it and they're competing against another pharma corporation, that's a complete fictional reality. They're one and the same. They're no different. Just because they have a different drug doesn't mean that their money doesn't come from the same people of the United Kingdom, of the kings and the queens, and all the way up to the Illuminati, the Bilderbergs, all the way up to the top of the pyramid, which are the money printers. The ones who have all the money. I think that Rothschild's estimated worth is over $900 trillion. How do you have one man worth more than every nation in America and in the planet? Every nation in the planet is in debt to Rothschild. And it's done by design. And it's all a fictional reality. Your states that are in debt from Katrina and all these weather wars, it's all a fictional reality. Hats off to Denver and Colorado for selling marijuana. At least they're trying to create their own money. Forget about the money from these people. We don't need their money. We can create our own society. And what is marijuana? It's just a godlike plant, and they don't want you to smoke it because it awakens you consciously. The shaman knew that. The shaman smoked marijuana. What is DMT? If you take it immediately and you're hooked on Oxycontin, you will instantly no longer be hooked on it. We can't have that. The United Kingdom says DMT, United States, is illegal. Got to go to Mexico for that. Most people don't even know about it. During Hurricane Katrina, I had 3 people that were in my family that were hooked on Oxycontin. All they can think about. They didn't care about surviving. They didn't care about food, water. I need my pain pills. The whole nation's been torn down around you. Devastation everywhere, but you need pain pills. Have you seen what these corporations have done to the minds of our people? What more do you need to see? Why would you celebrate a day of independence when we're not at all independent? I look at people popping firecrackers and I just go, what a bunch of morons. I apologize if I offend you, but if you could just climb into my head for 1 second, you'd go, wait a minute, understand what he's saying now. Instead of popping firecrackers, maybe we need to stand at the freaking courthouse with some signs. Let's unite people. Tell people. Share the truth with everyone instead of fighting fictional wars, because that's what they want. They want, before you wake up, to have another war because people are awakening. The awakening period was December 21st, 2012. It wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't to demonize people who did awaken like the media wanted to do. It was the awakening. And people are awakening. And they don't like government anymore. They don't like the banks anymore. You tell me, but what you don't understand is how the whole system works. I do. I have figured it out. Because not only did I own my own business, and I was a very high income taxpayer, where they took half of my check, I worked in banking, media, automotive, all the big giant industries. And I know them like the back of my hand. And I knew that they were, found out that they were all connected. I was going from one business to the other trying to do good for people. What I found out is they're all the same damn entity. Doesn't matter if you work at a car dealership, doesn't matter if you work for a bank, doesn't matter if you work for a giant media corporation. They're all one big giant United Kingdom New World Order monster, demon. And I've told you the truth. And it's the truth based on my knees, my tears, and communication with God. It's also based on my experience for working in these corporations. I've seen it with my own eye. And I'm begging you to seek truth. Turn off that TV. I don't care if you have to live in a tent. Do not buy what the United Kingdom is selling. And let me tell you something. Everything that you're consuming in today's world is just a fictional waste of your money. You don't need it. Oh, I have to have a cell phone. No, you don't. Oh, I have to have a new car. No, you don't. Oh, I have to have a bigger house. No, you don't. Stop listening to this. I have a friend that has 3 kids, 3-bedroom home that's almost paid off. Oh, he wants a bigger one. Why? You can pay it off and transform your life from slavery to freedom. No, I want to continue being a slave. I want a bigger house. Well, that's your choice. Freddie, don't tell me what I need. I know what I need. No. You need freedom. Please believe me. You need to break the bonds. Everybody in America needs to break the bonds of this tyrannical mindset. Guy, listen. Your house was appraised for $175,000. It's worth about $3,000 in real money, if that. The whole fiat and petrocurrency is a fictional reality. It's a man sitting on the throne that's all the way at the top of the pyramid saying a dollar is worth this. Your house is worth this. I decree. I am the God of the pyramid. I am the God. I created fiat currency. I said, listen, when you go to the bank and you get the money from the bank, do you get any gold or silver? Do you get any value? No, you don't. You get a computer printout that says the God at the top of the pyramid says that you can buy a bigger house. Of course, when you come from a smaller house and you want to go more into debt, of course they want you to go more into debt. But what happens is a transformation of this 100-year charter. That's why the banking industry in 2013 and before that was fighting against the United States for that charter renewal. However, they say, well, shucks, if you're not going to give me the banking charter, then I'll just spray everybody by air and make everybody sick, and I'll get my money through the medical industry. Let me tell you something. If those people don't want to give me their money through the banking system and the housing market, then I will get the money as they're sick and dying through my hospitals. And that's exactly what they're doing. Chemtrails, fracking. Fracking used to be sand and water, and now it's over 100 toxic chemicals that they're pumping into your water systems, while their waters are pure. Jesse Ventura is saying, why would they want to do that to themselves? Because they have technologies that's so far beyond yours. These people probably live on the dark side of the moon, people. They might even live on Mars. Sounds crazy, but promise you, once they expose their infrasonic and ultrasonic radiation weaponry, the smart meters, once they expose their HARP weapons and their weather modification, their mountain of metal, their magnetosphere that they're creating around the planet, once all that wisdom comes into your mind, then you'll start to understand what I'm trying to tell you. When the Mayans and the American Indians and the people from Peru and Vietnam saw the fire-breathing metal things that we call guns, to them were fire-breathing dragons. And the fire-breathing dragons came and took over their civilization. And now they worship the dragon, the gun. Well, they didn't know what a gun was. They thought that was some mythological god sailing in, and they had the weaponry, the high science, they had the wisdom of the stars, and they had guns, and they killed them all. And now they had to transform or to conform to the United Kingdom or Great Britain or the king and the queen, or whatever you want to call these devil monsters. You know, David Icke calls them lizards. Well, I believe that they have fight and flight mentality. I believe that they have transformed back. They have unevolved. Their mental state is a lizard. Absolutely. I don't know if they're really lizards, but I know one thing. They have fight and flight mentality just like a snake. And guys, if you don't believe that the serpent is in your medical industry, look at the symbol. If you don't believe that the serpent is Obamacare, look at the snake crawling up the tree of life, strangling the tree of life. What is the tree of life? God. The tree of life is God. The tree of souls, the light in Star Wars against the darkness. The tree against the serpent. There's no difference. And then they got predator wings, which is what? They have the ability of flight, and you are strangled by the serpent. You can't fly. He's got you. The serpent's got you. It's also in your dental industry. The dental industry is so demonic. It has a pyramid and the circle of Saturn. Look at the car company Mazda, the circle of Saturn with owl horns. Symbols, demonic symbols. Oh, let me go buy a Mazda. What? A demonic car company? Same thing. Toyota, demonic. That's their symbols, guys. What is Saturn, the car company? Why, when the bailouts, did they get rid of Saturn? Because it's a fight between GM and the Freemasons. And GM said, you know something? Screw you. We're going to get rid of Saturn. We're not worshiping your car anymore. We don't want your demonic Saturn. And they got rid of them. There was nothing wrong with Saturn sales. They got rid of Hummer and Saturn. Yeah, Hummer was a bomb. That thing was a failing monster, sucking the life out of them. But Saturn was okay. They got rid of it because of Freemasonry, the fight between America and Freemasonry. And you see, these higher corporations know this stuff. What did Ford do when he took the bailout? They rejected the bailout because they don't want the United Kingdom money turning their company into slaves. And why does the United Kingdom want the car companies, Chrysler, Ford, GM? Why do they want them? Because that's where we build weapons. Why are our men incarcerated? Because of an economy. Well, they can't afford to pay the taxes. They can't afford to pay the child support. Incarcerate them. Take away their ability to work, live, eat, sleep. They can't hunt. They can't fish. They can't do anything. Why? Because the British United Kingdom says so. We want them incarcerated, so when we come to take America, not only will we own your car companies and you can't build factories, you can't build tanks and weapons, but we're going to also incarcerate the men and lock them up in prison so we can drone strike them. We're coming after your nation, and we want you as weak as possible. Why do we ship off the Americans into foreign countries? Because they don't want your military in America. They want them in foreign countries. What did Obama say? We're going to bring the troops home. Troops home. What did he do? He didn't bring the troops home. He's sending out more. Matter of fact, I think yesterday he sent out another 300 soldiers. Not that we don't have enough. And they're dying and they're being inoculated. As soon as you go into the military, they're giving them shots, inoculations, poisons. Everyone that was in Iran and Iraq has been poisoned by these inoculations. Their immune system is shot. Gulf War syndrome is real, and the doctors that signed the Hippocratic oaths are doing what the United Kingdom, Rothschild, monster demons of the serpent, Rockefeller, tells them to do. They swore to Hippocratic oath. Oh, they'll lose their job. Choosing money over God. Choosing to spit on America and to worship United Kingdom. Choose to give our people drugs and shots and pills of death and kill their own people. That's what your doctors are doing today, instead of making our people healthy, real cures. They don't tell our people about GMO foods, Monsanto's. What is Monsanto? It is a European bloodline corporation. What is Halliburton? A European bloodline corporation. What is FEMA? A European bloodline corporation. You can follow it all the way to the United Kingdom, I promise you. What's going on in America right now? They're trying to transform the states, the counties, the parishes, the Congress, everything. They're trying to transform them with money to obey the United Kingdom of the New World Order. That's what's happening in your world today. Oh no, we're not transforming, so they're just going to bomb you with microscopic nanotechnology. We're working on nanotechnology. No, they're not. They've created it, and now they're spraying you with it. Your wireless internet in your house by AT&T, another globalist corporation of the United Kingdom, actually kills the eggs, not only in your child, but the generation and generation and generation and generation of the children. Just a wireless internet. It's called dirty energy, EMR, EMF, infrasonic radiation. What is a microwave? Where did the microwave come from? Who gets the profits from the microwave? The United Kingdom. What does the microwave do? It radiates your food to where there's no nutrients. You're constantly eating food with, it fills your tummy, but your body and your brain is starving to death. Therefore, it creates cancer and it starts eating itself. I can take every invention. Right now on television, there's a television program that says, if you're in the car business, you should sue. Who are they suing? You're suing the banks. Who are the banks? The United Kingdom. Why? Because they put asbestos. Our catalytic converters have been polluting the air. And they lie to you and they say, oh, it's the fuels. No, it's not. You can burn fossil fuels and the plants and the trees love it, eat it. A Japanese scientist proved that you can take fossil fuels and burn them in a greenhouse and the plant grows forever. A tomato plant produced thousands of tomatoes and it grew the size of the whole freaking thing. One plant, because of fossil fuels. Why are they taking the fossil fuels out of the ground? Because they don't want the plants to grow. The plants need those gases seeping out of the ground. They feed off of those gases. Now they don't have them. And guess what? You didn't even know that the real power that's exploding and igniting your ignition is water. Because if you take water out of gas, it does not ignite. Now, I've given you tons of facts. Call me whatever name you want. Just like Jesus was called names. Just like Moses was called names. Just like Noah was mocked and picked on. But the days of Noah are here. The days of Moses are here. The freedom of the slaveries. The days of Jesus Christ, the Son of Man, are here. Same days that they lived in are now raising their ugly head. And it's time for the real prophets. And I believe, birth, I was born to teach truth. I know it in my heart and soul. It's what I've done in my relationships. It's what I've done in my jobs. It's what I've done my whole life. In sports, I never understood this competition. I was always better than everybody that I played against, especially in football, martial arts, water skiing, snow skiing, you name it. I can conquer that sport. I learned how to juggle in one day. I can figure things out. God gave me that gift. When I played defensive linebacker, I knew where the ball was going. It's almost like I could see into the future. It was a gift from God. I'm an average 6-foot man. I'm not that big, but I could defeat anybody on that offense. And I did it with wisdom, with God-like strength. And I knew all my life that I was different. I saw people, how they lived in the hate and the fear, and they never forgave people. And I was eternal forgiveness. I always forgave people. When I worked in the corporate world, they go, well, people just don't understand you. Well, they don't understand me because, number one, I'm making them look like a fool. I have to stay home 10 days out of the month just so that they can keep up with me. Sometimes 20 days out of the month because I can annihilate them in sales. Who was Jesus Christ? He was an incredible salesman. Who was Moses? He sold freedom to the king. Jesus was a salesman, my friend. He was a teacher, salesman. And I want to be like Jesus. I am not Jesus. I want to be like Jesus. Why was Jesus arrested? Because they wanted him to admit to being the Messiah. He never admitted to being the Messiah, people. He never admitted to that. All he admitted to, all he said, Luke chapter 21, he said, whatever you say I am is what I am, obviously. In other words, what he's saying is the media controls the minds of the people. So it doesn't matter what I say I am. You have already determined who I am. I have broken your man-made laws. I have followed God's laws, and if I follow God's laws, I am the enemy of the man-made laws. That's who Jesus Christ was, walking on water and all these things. I don't know if he did that. We'll never know. And who cares if he did that? It's kind of like dramatization in a television set. But I know one thing. He chose God over the darkness, and that's what we have to do today. He knew who his enemy was. He knew him very well. That's why he went in the desert for 40 days. He was offered the kingdom of the planet, and he turned it down. He turned down money. He chose God over money. And if you're working for every job in America, I don't care if you cut grass, you're still buying fuel from the demons of the planet. And you're still buying parts from their demon to fix your lawnmower. Everything that we do except farming our own land is demonization of society. I'm telling you that we have to disconnect the whole planet from these demons. We have to peacefully refuse to conform. That means quit buying your lawnmower. Quit buying parts. I don't care how you have to fix your lawnmower. Go buy all old parts and put them together. Don't buy the parts from the parts stores. Number one, they're not as good as the old parts. And number two, they're designed to fail. Number three, they're profiting and they're using your money to build their army against you, to pay off the politicians. Don't go buy a new car. Don't buy a new house. Quit paying your house payment. Just stop until America decides that we're going to bring our troops home and protect our own borders. This is what we want. We want independence, real independence, not some television propaganda independence of a fictional reality, popping firecrackers, when independence doesn't even exist. What are you celebrating? I love you. I love you all. I love even the morons. I love my enemies. I am a man of heart and mind and love. I believe in oneness, people uniting with people, but not in slavery and not by a fictional king or a queen or a money printer, but by God. Let's all go back to being farmers until we transform the minds of the meek to God. Let these men out of the prisons, especially if they're in there for this phony drug war or this phony communist war or this phony terrorist war, invisible enemy wars that they could just arrest who they want. We've got more men incarcerated in prison for drugs than anything in the world. And who's doing the drugs? The United Kingdom, through the Rockefellers, through IG Farben, through the medical industry. I have 3 friends that are dead. I have 2 that are dead mentally. Died from the doctors. Not from the drug dealers, but from the doctors. Oxycontin. The most dangerous drug come out of those pill boxes, my friend. Not from the drug dealers, but from those pill boxes. And I will testify to that because my friends are dead. Not by the hands of a drug dealer, but by the hands of the doctor. Marijuana last year killed no one. 0 people. Aspirins that come from the doctors killed thousands of people. I forgot the number, but it's way up there. What is the weakest drug we have? Aspirin. They don't want to tell you what the Oxycontin's killing or incarcerating. The drug was created to incarcerate not only your mind, but your body physically. If it doesn't incarcerate your mind, like some of my friends, they've turned into zombies. I don't even know who they are. They've been hooked on drugs for 8 years. I can't even talk to them. They have disconnected from God and truth because of IG Farben, Rockefeller, his petrodollar, his Standard Oil Company has just melted into the satanistic society of people who think that they need a pill. My back hurt. Guess what creates more back pains than anything? Fluoride. Who gives us the fluoride? Look, fluoride is good for your teeth. What does it say on the back of the toothpaste? Warning, if swallowed, seek poison control immediately. Why would they put poison in your toothpaste? You can take grapefruit and natural salt, sea salt, and brush your teeth. It's just as white and clean as a poison. What did the dentist do of I.G. Farben, Rockefeller, and the school of Nazism? What did the dentist do? Little Johnny, did you take your fluoride? How much fluoride are you taking? Are you brushing your teeth? Did you sing happy birthday while you're brushing? I was in an industry of health and beauty sales, Nexus. I saw the war between Walmart's poison shampoos and soaps, sodium lauryl sulfate. Sing happy birthday while you wash your hands. Yeah, you wash your hands. And the war against bacteria. Well, guess what? My dog is smarter than you. The dog knows to eat bacteria when it has a stomach problem because the bacteria fights off. I knew that when I owned pet store. Bacteria fights bacteria. If you take a fish from fresh water and you put it in the salt water, dip, all the parasites die. All you're doing is changing the pH and the polarity of the waters, and the parasites can't live. That's what the dog does when it's eating chicken crap. It's fixing its own immune system. But what you want to do is wash off all the bacteria. Well, now you have the common cold, allergies off the charts because of the soaps. I tell this to people. What is an allergy? It is a weakened immune system. If you wash your body constantly with bacterial soaps or poison soaps that wash off the acid mantle, you will constantly be sick. Your skin is one of the largest organs in the body, if not the largest. If you attack the skin with a poison, then you're constantly filled with allergies and the common cold and the flu and all the viruses and strep throat and all the things that are associated with the poison soaps that are attacking the biggest organ in the body, the skin. Now, I.G. Farben knew this. Rockefeller knows this. But when the doctors go through the school, they're taught something totally different, which is they live in a fictional reality. Kind of like celebrating Independence Day when you're not at all independent. You are more of a slave than you've ever been, and we keep getting more and more slavery as they're raising the currency value so that they can one day collapse it to where it's supposed to be. You notice the euro market is more reality than the American fiat currency. It shows a stronger currency, but the euro is more in balance to reality. They want you to give the illusion that your country has a strong currency, while they're keeping the more accurate currency. You live in an illusion, they live in the reality world. Most Europeans know this, especially European bankers. Guys, let's create a real independence. Quit celebrating these holidays. Why do they want you to celebrate these holidays? Because they want you to celebrate something that doesn't exist. They want to show you, look how free you are. Look at the black man. The black man moved from working for the white man in a farm. Now the black man is a slave to the government. What's the difference? If I were a black person, I'd rather be a slave to a farm than a slave to a government that is associated with a bank. Now the white man is just as much of a slave to the bank as the black man. They're bundling us up into one big giant mold. But on their medias, they're making us hate each other. Their Freemasonic societies hate each other. White against black, brown against this, rich against poor, religion against religion. When are you going to awaken and realize that we are all brothers and sisters? We were all created. We all traveled through the eye of God in our evolutionary process. No matter what color you are, we are God's chosen creatures. I don't care if Jesus is black or white. I will still love him. I don't care if he's brown. He was brown, by the way, which is probably the common color. That's why we've been killing brown people for all these years. He was the color between the Chinese and the Africans and the whites. He was the even color brown people. Kind of like Hispanics and the Muslims today, and the Persians and on and on. The chosen race. Quite honestly, that is the chosen race, the brown. It's a symbol of oneness. It's exactly what it is. It's a symbol of oneness. And this is why we're always trying to bomb the brown man. How did they become brown? White somehow merged with black. Darkness merged with the light. Good merged with evil. War merged with peace. And one harmony of oneness. This is what we have to do today. And the only way we can do it is to separate ourselves from the darkness. We travel towards the light. And we meet right here in the middle. All of us. I have this vision And I hope someone someday will listen to this that has the finances or the ability to do this. But I have this vision. It is just a uniting of godlike people in a field, hundreds of acres, a giant rock, no dictator, no priest, no throne, no Freemasonic symbols, no gates, no black robes, no white robes of fictional illusions, just people holding hands, uniting as one. People, even the clothes on your body are toxic. Colors in your foods, everything that you know. When you speak to God, He doesn't even like clothes. We were born to be free. Clothing is slavery. Why is nudity something evil in this planet? Because they want you to believe the opposite of truth. You ask any of the mothers and fathers in this generation, oh, nudity, oh. I'm sorry, but I've never believed that nudity was something that was evil. I never will. Now, watching porn is diseasing your mind because you're not supposed to visualize that way. You're not, unless she's your wife and you're committed to that person. You become one. And I'm not talking about the fictional marriages that we have today. Well, how much money does he have? Well, what's his job? Where does he work? How much power does he have? How many friends does he have? Okay, well, I'll be his girlfriend. And I even want to be his wife. Matter of fact, I'm going to entrap him and have a baby with him so that he can definitely be my wife. I'm going to fix this. I want this man. He is my possession. This is the society that we live in. This is complete heresy, propaganda, paganism, Satanism, all around us, the days of Noah. How could you choose a man by how much evil he has in his life? Because that's exactly what you're doing. Popularity with the world is the enemy of God. It says it in the Bible. What are you doing when you choose a man that's popular with the world? You're choosing to live in darkness with this man, and you're going to trap this guy in darkness. You're going to travel to darkness, and that's why you're getting a divorce a few years later. Because love is always calling you. I want to be in love. Well, you chose darkness. How can you be in love in darkness? You can't. It's impossible. So what do? You live in the lower half of your chakra. You eat, sleep, you have sex. This man's not satisfying your needs, so you go have sex with another person that lives in the darkness. Because why would a man have sex with a woman that was married to another man? I would never done that in my life. I've done it before when women lied to me and told me they weren't married. But when I found out they were married, I ended it immediately. But I had never. One time, I went to a place and a girl says, well, my husband's cool. You know, she wanted to have sex with me and she was ready to party. And I said, sweetie, I'm not cool with it. And you are gorgeous. You're a beautiful woman. Redheaded, beautiful girl, tall, beautiful eyes. I was mesmerized by your beauty. But the darkness of your mind, I had to walk away. So I said, sweetie, there's no way if you're married that I'm going to party with you. No way. And I've been like that all my life. I've never changed. I don't have sex with a person who's married or committed to another person. Never did. I've been tricked into it. I've been accused of it, but I was never like that. I followed God's laws about man's laws. I really don't. I see them for what they are. Nor did Jesus. Jesus was crucified because he refused to follow man's laws. And he was crucified by man's laws. Same laws that Hitler used. Same laws that Mao used. Same laws that Stalin used. Those are the laws that killed Jesus Christ. I promise you. And until you realize that those laws are fictional, and God's laws are written in your mind, and you have to find self and consciousness in order to awaken to hear the laws of God and to follow the laws of God. Because when those laws are repeating in your mind instead of this television programming, our kids are watching TV and video games, and that's what's repeating in their mind, and it's overcoming the truth of God. And it shifts your children from the higher portion of the chakra, of the heart, the energy of the heart, to the lower. And they live in the world of fear, hate, jealousy, envy, slothfulness, laziness, everything that is the opposite of God. And they'll never find satisfaction, they'll never find love in the lower half of the chakra. Love exists in the heart. When I made love to a woman, I made love from my heart and my mind. And my pleasure was so much greater than the woman that was laying there living in the lower half of the chakra. Her pleasure was all physical. This position, that position, this thing. What you're doing is you're trying to have sex by the way that the TV tells you to have sex, but not by the way that God tells you to make love. So there was always a conflict in my relationships. I wanted to merge the hearts into one. They wanted physical pleasure. So both of the wives that I had were lesbians that I didn't even know. I'm confessing this, and it's the truth. I didn't even know they were lesbians. They admitted it after they got me to commit to them. To me, what creates lesbianism? I'm going to tell you what it is. It's the pills. It's the shots. It kills your DNA. It separates you from who and what you are. You're a woman. And now you're no longer a woman. You're something in between. You're caught in a wandering generality of mythological gods, men who created disease. And disease, not only your body, but your mind. I don't hate people that are lesbians, and I don't hate people that are gay. I pity them because I know what happened to them. They were injected eugenics by I.G. Farben and Rockefeller, and now they're gay. And now they have to live a life in sin. Now the media wants you to transform to say that gay is okay. Yes, I love you, my gay brother and sister. I love you with all my heart, but I will never transform to your beliefs. I will not allow my children to believe that man sleeping with man and people living in a wandering generality, a fictional reality, is a part of our life journey. Has nothing to do with it. A sexual preference is not your life journey. Even a plant knows to reach for the light. A tree knows to reach for the light. Your dog wants to be a human just like you. Every creature on this earth wants to evolve to the light, except you. You've decided to be a vampire and stay behind and live in a wandering generality of sin. Now, it's not your fault. We've all been committed fraud at birth with these injections of immunity and all these diseases that they implanted in our body. And these diseases are just gestating in our bodies, just waiting for our immune system to be depleted by chemtrails, nanoparticulates in our body, to kill our immune system to where these diseases that we were injected, hundreds of diseases will just pop up. And just like Hitler, they'll use the diseases to cleanse the earth, to depopulate the world. This is their vision. This is why they did this. And believe you me, being gay is nothing but the depletion of your natural hormones. The depletion of your immune system. And any smart doctor would tell you this. A dumb doctor, a pill pusher, will not know this. But there's a lot of smart doctors out there that do know this. The endocrine system projects whether you like men or women, and I can take a hormone. Tomorrow, I can fill my body with estrogen, and all of a sudden, I look at a man as a sexy man. Well, guess what? Never in my life have I ever looked at a man as being sexy. Even if you injected me with those hormones, I might have that temptation to be attracted to man, but I will never fall for that temptation. You see, it gives you the ability to fall from grace and the temptation to fall from grace, the bite out of the apple. It doesn't mean that you have to fall from grace. That's what the serpent does. God bless. I love you all.
Hush now, baby, don't you cry as grandmommy's singing you lullaby. She says, don't worry, baby, someday soon we're gonna eat the rich. The Secretary of Defense may conduct biological experiments. I guess Granny never told you sometimes life can be a in a cage, guinea pigs on a stage. Hitler was a test, he was only a test, and now some bullshit's about to manifest. The human race has become completely enslaved.
In the 21st century, the world is experiencing difficult times. No matter how one chooses to look at things or how much of a positive attitude one tries to adopt, there is still a great deal of uncertainty amongst most people in regards to the future, and many of those who have taken the time to investigate and who are aware of such things see the situation as hopeless, and many feel powerless in the face of the New World Order Leviathan that is ever more quickly engulfing our civilization. Yet the reality is that people are not powerless at all. In fact, quite the opposite is true, for there is a very simple and effective way to stop the New World Order in its tracks. Let's be honest about it. The system that we live under is corrupt. It's rotten to the core. It's about self-service, and it's run by psychopaths and criminals, and everyone knows it. And they get away with it, and the world continues along in this dysfunctional manner, simply because we let it continue. So stop going along with it. Understand that the way to bring about real change in the world is through non-compliance to the system. And many ask, what is non-compliance? Does this mean I should quit my job and burn all my money? And the answer to any questions such as these is no, of course not. Non-compliance is about doing the right thing. It's about disconnecting yourself from the system, being responsible for your thoughts, your actions and your intentions, and it lies very much in realizing your own potential. Do what is right in all that you do. Realize your connection to others and think humanitarianly rather than economically. Don't base your life on the collection of useless trinkets or on social status. Do what is right in your heart. And doing what is right, understanding whether what you are doing is the right thing or not, is not something you have to decide. It's something that you already know in your heart if you would just look and be honest with yourself. If you are doing something that you need to justify to yourself with inner dialogue, then chances are that you're doing the wrong thing and are simply trying to talk yourself into allowing it. You know this. Knowledge of it is within your heart. You just have to look and you will find it. Understand how the energy works. Be aware of the energy you are drawing into yourself, of what you are manifesting with that energy, and what type of energy you are contributing back to the energy supply for others to draw upon. This is truly how it works. Realize your potential as a human being. Forget the imaginary restraints that have been placed before you by the academic system and the limitations you are told exist by science and religious teachings, and look at the whole spectrum. Because the fact is that each of these institutions functions only to compartmentalize knowledge. Each exists for the very purpose of limiting the scope of your understanding by locking you into a contained and restrictive paradigm. And until people begin to look beyond such imposed limitations, open their minds and make the connections between religion and science, they are never going to make the connections to themselves, to this reality, and to the Creator that men have called God. But to do this, and to gain a real understanding, requires both acceptance and self-responsibility. It requires that people act in a proactive manner. There are many who find such things difficult, those who would prefer someone else to come and save them. Yet such people desire the impossible, for they desire to be delivered into salvation and utopia without ever understanding the true nature of their world or even themselves. And this is very often due to the limitations of an imposed belief system. Now you can talk to those who embrace religion. You can sit them down and you can talk to them about God and about Satan, and they will converse with you eagerly, and they all very much believe in such things. But as soon as you put things like science, galactic laws, numerology or astrotheology into the equation, many just shut off. They say it's God's will, and they sit back and they wait for Armageddon. And some will even go so far as to say the pursuit of such higher understandings is demonic. And though on a different level, it's the same with many scientists. They understand the mechanics of it all, but many refuse to add spirituality into the picture and only adhere to laws that can be applied on a mechanical level. Both approaches are inherently flawed because neither will consider the arguments of the other, and both refuse to take into account, allow for, and even embrace the true nature of feelings and emotions. Yet feeling and emotion is the key to it all. Feeling and emotion is the language that is used to create and to mold reality. Feeling and emotion is the true nature of prayer, and it is also the language by which man may communicate with the Creator. What is the true nature of that divine entity that man has named God? The Creator is the intelligence that underlies all, the fabric that permeates all realities. The Creator exists as one, a single consciousness that is in essence a duality, both male and female, the Alpha and the Omega. This is why in every religious text in which the Creator speaks, it is in the plural. This is the nature of the divine matrix, connects all things, the consciousness of which we are all expressions. As self-awareness grows and realization of one's connection to this consciousness awakens within each person, institutionalized religions seek to externalize this force and suggest that God is something external from man, a benefactor that is looking down on us. Many so-called New Age religions attempt to internalize it and suggest that God is yourself, that God lies within. But both of these understandings are erroneous. Every being in creation, both you and I and every other person in this reality, is an eternal living soul expression of God, of the consciousness of the Alpha and Omega, just as every soul is male-female in nature. Yet despite this, our world, our species, and our consciousness is today rampant with division and distrust that is wholly illusionary and has been deliberately engineered into being. The manufactured creation of an institutionalized society. This has been going on for a very long time, and it has reached extreme proportions over the last century. During this time, man as a species has been shifted so far from his center and so far away from true reality that we have almost completely lost our humanity. We have been trained to be totally dependent upon the system. We have been robbed of our will, of our self-esteem, and our independence. We have been trained to believe whatever the TV tells us, and to think that image, social status, and the collecting of meaningless trinkets is the meaning of life. But most importantly, through television, the mass media, and through the ingestion of brain-inhibiting toxins such as fluoride, we have been robbed of our power to think critically and objectively. And most dangerously of all, through these same machinations, we have been robbed of our life skills. This last fact alone has placed mankind in the most vulnerable position of our entire recorded history. For at this point in time, we are, almost each and every one of us, completely dependent upon a corrupt corporate apparatus for our survival. An apparatus that places profits before people. It has nothing at all to do with the true nature of man, of our place upon and relationship to this earth or to each other. Yet we depend upon it for our food, for our housing, for our information, and even for our entertainment. It tells us what to do, where to go, what to look like, what to eat, how to dress, how to act, and what to think about the world and about each other. And we obey it while the world around us is raped. And if this corporate apparatus were suddenly to fail or shut down, every supermarket shelf in the world would be almost completely empty, and every resource we take for granted as being on hand for our daily lives would be depleted in a matter of just 3 days. And what then? Because if a person from almost any level of modern society was suddenly to be left alone to fend for themselves, there are very few who would be able to survive. It is of the utmost importance that mankind wake up to the reality of this and to the true situation the world is facing. Because the future we are allowing to be created, and to which we are also allowing ourselves to literally become completely enslaved to and totally dependent upon, is not going to be a future worth living in. What is required to fix it is for people to re-establish themselves as human beings and get back in touch with their humanity. Take control of your own life. Start growing your own food and take responsibility for yourself and realize and accept your connection to others. 120 years ago, a situation such as the one we are now in would have been unthinkable. So why then is it so prevalent today? It's because it has been done by design. The reason is that we are being set up. And I don't tell people this in order to scare them. I tell people simply because it is important they become aware of it, as it is a situation that can still be rectified once people become aware of the truth. Now there are many who choose to blame different groups for this. They claim Zionism is to blame, or it's the Bilderberg Group, or it's the international banksters and the money system that's the root of the problem. Yet the truth is that all of these things are merely differing mechanisms of control that are all interconnected. Certainly the money system is the head of the snake that's used to control it all, including the people. But ultimately, it's all one system, and all of these mechanisms are merely different layers of the same onion. They are differing levels in the hierarchy, and different arms of the same octopus. Both Zionism and the money system and any other visibly secret organizations are merely playing their own specific part. This conspiracy runs very deep. It goes back to ancient Egypt and even beyond. Step back and just look at the bigger picture. As I've repeatedly said in other films, there is a ruling bloodline that exists on this earth. It is very old and it has always ruled the earth. It is to this bloodline that the Bavarian Illuminati appears to have allied itself with some 230 years ago. This ruling class is known by many as the Sun Cult, and there is good reason for this, as it still carries out its ritualistic worship of Amun-Ra in the world today. It does this in full view and has even hijacked other faiths to do it. Unbeknownst to the members of these religions, one purpose in doing this is to use these people to help channel the energy required to control this reality. There have been a great many people involved in this bloodline, both genetically and ideologically, and it is the upper echelons of this ancient Sun Cult who ultimately sit at the top and steer the ship of state. If the truth be known, there is already one world government in control of this planet. It's just that it's hidden in the shadows and governs the world through covert methods. The three most prominent of which are by controlling the flow of the world's resources, its manipulation of the global money supply, and most importantly, through the control over the flow of information. Now, archaeological evidence clearly shows us that there have indeed been civilizations as advanced as our own, and perhaps even in possession of technology that we are still yet to realize, that once existed on this planet in times long past. Archaeological evidence also clearly shows us that many thousands of years ago, the Earth suffered some kind of catastrophe. In fact, there have been several. The last one that was recorded in any discernible way was the deluge described in the Bible as the flood of Noah. The deluge did take place. It's recounted in many cultures, some going back even further than the Bible. It exists in Babylonian texts in the Epic of Gilgamesh. It even exists in the legends of Native Americans, of South American cultures, and even in the legends of the Australian Aboriginal, and in many other places besides. And this is not by coincidence. The deluge did in fact occur. At the time of the deluge, or possibly even in the catastrophe preceding the last one, there was indeed an advanced civilization that existed on this earth, and during one such catastrophe, technology was lost. Not just civilization, but actual hardware and important scientific records. It has been a painstaking process for those in control to regain this technology, and we have been allowed to breed in order that it may be recovered, and that control over Earth's resources is again secured by those who control this world. They have used us as the power to achieve these ends. Those who belong to this ancient cult are the keepers of the hidden knowledge, and these people understand that if you can control the emotions and belief of enough of the populations, you can control the entire species and quite literally create whatever reality you desire, and they have used our energy to create the world we now inhabit. The key to addressing this situation is to understand your own potential and understand the true nature of energy, vibration, and of frequency. Everything that exists in this reality consists wholly of differing frequencies of energy. The expression of every frequency that exists as every son-daughter, and every son-daughter that exists in creation is consciousness. The Creator is consciousness, and every soul in projection in this reality is an expression of that consciousness. Consciousness through creation is universally the same and is pure Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness is the key. Once you get the picture that Christ consciousness, rather than the doctrines of institutionalized religions, is what it's all about, you understand everything about what's going on. Creation exists solely through the loving responsibility and intent of every soul in projection, every expression of the consciousness of the Creator. And this has nothing to do with institutionalized religion. Institutionalized religion has been devised by man to hide you from the truth and from the Christ consciousness that lies within you. Your inner thoughts and emotions literally affect the outer physical world around you. It is extremely important for people to understand that your feelings and the effect they have on the world around you are not something you can switch off and on at will. It's an ongoing thing that's happening all the time. Every conscious moment of your life, you are communicating with the energy field around you. And every moment, you are quite literally shaping this physical reality with your thoughts and your emotions and the energy you are releasing through them. Many people find such information to be somewhat discomforting, because with the understanding that your inner thoughts and emotions literally affect the outer physical world around you, comes a great responsibility. How will you accept this responsibility? How will you now choose to live your life in the realization and true understanding of what energies you are putting back into the matrix for others to draw upon, and of how these energies, created by the choices you make, are literally shaping the physical world around you? Jesus was a Christ-conscious triune being in a projection. You are a Christ-conscious triune being in a projection, a thought in the mind of God, a manifestation of the expression of Alpha and Omega. The difference is that Jesus knew it, while most other people haven't figured it out yet. Every person living within this three-dimensional reality lives a completely illusionary existence. What man considers the ordinary events of everyday life on Earth have no counterparts in the higher realms of awareness. Every person dwelling on the Earth today is a living Christ triune being, subject to the third-dimensional mentalized illusion of this material plane. On Earth, each of you has 5 lower outer senses and 105 higher or inner senses you cannot normally access. Because of this, you are only able to perceive a very narrow bandwidth of this reality, and the way to unlock these higher senses is to understand the one law that governs this reality. There is only one law, and that is the law of absolute and unconditional love and service to the creation for the Creator. Evil is doing in practice the opposite of what you should be doing in principle. The reason is simple. Disharmony is the result. What is thought of as evil is, quite simply, the presence of disharmony through acting in opposition to the one law. Evil is a choice, and the so-called battle of Armageddon that those of a religious persuasion are waiting for is, in actual fact, already being waged. It is a battle of energy that is being fought in a higher realm. It is a battle that is being fought on all levels, both spiritually and physically, and even electromagnetically. The weapons that are being used to wage this war are all around you. They are food toxins, electromagnetic radiation, and television. It is a battle of consciousness. It is being waged by occult means, and it is going on right now. The outcome of this war will be that man will either awaken his DNA, realize his true potential, and change this reality into one that embraces his connection to everyone and everything and to the Creator, or he will succumb, and in doing so, he will lose the final vestige of his humanity. We are right now on the precipice. We are teetering on the brink of one of these two realities. On one side lies salvation, and on the other, oblivion, while in our hands lies the choice. Look around you. This battle has been raging for many, many years. People are just kept distracted by design, and so for the most part, they haven't yet noticed. Free yourself of the distraction though, and it becomes very obvious and quite plain to see. We are not in the end days or even in the end hours. We are in the final minutes, and the choice of what the final outcome will be, the very key to winning, lies within each of you. All I can ask is that you each look within yourself, because when you look deep enough, you will find that the words I have spoken are true. Realize your inner power and embrace your true potential, because the truth will set you free. My friends, stop complying with this system. It's time to wake up.
There is no matter as such. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particle of an atom to vibration and holds this most minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter.
Everything is energy. What you perceive with your five senses to be the solid world around you is actually nothing of the sort. It is simply differing frequencies of energy acting in harmony to form what our senses perceive as matter. The reality that we are experiencing every day and all matter within it is in fact a symphony. A symphony consisting in its entirety of light and of sound. Ultimately, there is nothing else. There is only these differing vibrational frequencies of light and sound. This was expressed more than eloquently in the book The Four Agreements, in which the author Don Miguel Ruiz wrote that it is not the stars that create the light, but rather the light that creates the stars. The universe in which we live is exceedingly vast. It is fractal in nature, and this is more significant than you may at first comprehend, because recent advances in science indicate to us that this entire universe actually exists within the center of a black hole. And reality exists as above and so below. Have you ever truly looked within yourself? Does it seem significant to you that each of the 100 trillion atoms that make up each of the 53 trillion cells that in turn make up the human body is itself structured as a solar system? Each one of these atoms consists of 99.999% empty space, and yet it is these empty atoms that make up the seemingly solid world both around you and within you. Each world a realm of infinite possibility and of infinite energy, and yet one is contained within the finite space of your body, as above and so below. At the heart of each atom, as at the heart of each cell, and at the heart of every living being, lies an energy so powerful and so mysterious that it had until recently remained elusive and undefined to modern science. What is contained within this energy is consciousness, and the form that it takes is that of a black hole. This is extremely significant, because what this understanding suggests to us is that within each atom of your body there also lies yet another seemingly endless universe, and that the universe in which we live also exists within the nucleus of an atom. To truly grasp the concept and the significance of this, one needs only to realize that all that actually exists within creation is consciousness. Consciousness composed of nothing more than pure energy. Everything is energy, and everything is consciousness, because the energy itself is conscious.
What is happening at this moment is discussed in all the Bibles and mythologies of the world. The ancient ones knew the cycles. The Hindus call these cycles the Yuga cycle of 24,000 years, in which we go through the gold, silver, bronze and iron age, just like we go through the yearly summer, winter, and the daily night and day. So we do this in the 24,000 year backward precessional cycle. And we are at what the prophecies say is the time of the harvest, the time of the end of this wave of evolution of mankind, where certain ones ascend, awaken, remember who they are and reclaim their divinity. What is really, in fact, going to happen is the galactic alignment in two respects. If you look at the galactic plane, if you imagine the galaxy as a very, very thin dish in the heavens, well, our sun, it's in a cycle of 24,000 years called precession of the equinoxes. And during that cycle, it spends 12,000 years above the equator of the Milky Way galaxy, the galactic plane, and 12,000 years below. So our sun is now sitting below that galactic plane, and it's popping its head through and it's passing that galactic plane right now as we speak, and on the 21st of December 2012 it'll be more over than under. The other aspect of this is that the equinoxes have been migrating around the heavens through the signs of the zodiac for 24,000 years. The vernal equinox occurs on the 21st of March. Now, at the moment, on the 21st of March, it's actually Pisces, because it's the sign that appears on the horizon on the 21st of March. That sign is the sign that we're in. Now, we've been in that sign, the sun has been in it at the equinox for 2,000 years. Now, it's right at the end of Pisces, and the new sign coming through is Aquarius. And the sun will be in Aquarius for 2,000 years. And Aquarius is an air sign. It's a fixed air. So its nature is quite different to the mutable water of Pisces. We've been in a mutable cross for 2,000 years. The equinoxes, and they've been in the mutable signs of Pisces. This is the March equinox, Virgo, the other equinox, and the solstices have been in Gemini, the solstice of June the 21st, and Sagittarius, December the 21st. Now what's happening is, as those equinoxes move around that clock and they come into the fixed signs, what's going to happen is this. The vernal equinox will be in Aquarius, the autumnal equinox will be in Leo, which is fixed fire, the solstice will go to Taurus, fixed earth, and the winter solstice will go to Scorpio, fixed water. Now these four signs are the fixed signs. So the Holy Cross, the divine cross in the skies, will be situated in their most natural home, the fixed signs. Well, in this age it's been in Pisces, which is mutable, and before that it was in Aries, which is cardinal. So now it gets to be fixed, and that is the alignment. That is what's taking place, because those signs there are very, very powerful, the fixed signs. They're very powerful in the transformation of the human consciousness. And in the Bible and in the holy books, they are the lion, the bull, the man, and the eagle. In Revelation, God is described as having the face of a man, the face of a bull, the face of an eagle, and the face of a lion. Well, that's the fixed signs of the zodiac. They're going home. The equinoxes and the solstices are going home. And that is what we're looking forward to. Just a great time in history to be living. It's just an amazing time. The great changes that we will see with our own eyes will just be stupendous. The new world of love is coming.